society dominated not just by masculinity, but also by men, whose primary purpose is to construct and maintain a certain power relationship over women. And then you would write that down, as I have here. So, something that you learn from the text, that's actually the definition of patriarchy. It doesn't vary very much if you look it up online. In the dictionary, that's what the definition of patriarchy is. So that's a piece of knowledge that we gain from reading that text. So when you're thinking about knowledge, it's a finding, a fact, something that an author asserted that you didn't know before related to a concept. You could have an insight about that same piece of knowledge, and then we would just connect it to the insight side. Or you might have a different insight about something else from that text or from somewhere else. So in that same text, I was reading on page 3, further down, that women are emotional, men are rational, the findings around there. And I thought about how that's not always true, and that's a vast generalization. And it's really hard to see my writing, but I cited that evidence, but I've read that the opposite is true. I have read studies that show that there is just as much emotional variability in either gender, and it's this and I ended with a rhetorical question, why does this tough guy stereotype persist? So that's something. I also was thinking about, somewhere else I had an insight, was when we were reading the quotes from the Stations packet, and that first quote from Handmaid's Tale, "My nakedness is strange to me already, ... completely," and the connection to A and P, where in this instance the woman is ashamed of being exposed, but in A and P the girls either didn't even think about it or they were totally comfortable with it. So very different characters. We're going to meet a character who is very self-conscious when it comes to her body, and it's probably a result of the society she lives in, whereas in A and P, where the society was not comfortable with these girls, they didn't care. They were just going in there and buying the fish that they needed to bring to the beach. So these are that's kind of the difference between a conclusion or an idea versus just stating something that you learned that you didn't know. And adding on to that, and I'll go back to my notes, making this even simpler to think about, I have divided up some of the guiding questions into categories. So you have the knowledge questions. The knowledge questions are red. Any of these red questions can be answered with direct evidence. And the blue questions, we have to generate conclusions, and there's many ways to answer them, right? They're open questions. Or the red questions, there might be different pieces of evidence to answer them, but they're more closed, and they can be answered with direct evidence from the text. That make sense? Give me a thumbs up if you're following me. Great. So anything we say in relation to the red questions should be supported with direct evidence, and it would go on the left side of our map. And then anything related to blue questions will go on the right side. And we might find that we can draw connections in between the evidence and the insights. So that's what I'm hoping, at least. All right, who would like to start us off? Pick a question. We can start in order. We have the definition of patriarchy. Go ahead, Christopher.
Can we start in the stations?
Go for it.
Station 7. And it asks, is feminism still relevant? While I was in the group, with my group, we all talked about how there is some sort of relevance to feminism, and how women in society are still like not yet as equal as men are. But then I also brought up the point where it was like men are slowly like becoming like, I don't wanna say dehumanized, but like less of a person, like less of like, yeah, just less of a person where like women were like overstretch their like authority or like their power, and like I was reading like an article and it said women will manipulate and use their like body as a way to get what they want in life or whatever. And although it may not be all women, it's like some women like also like what's the word? They like overextend their boundaries. I feel sometimes when they like when they do certain things.
What do you think about this quote? Can you read it out for someone else?
The point is not for women to simply take power out of man's hands, since that would change anything about the world. It is a question precisely of destroying that notion of power. I feel like if everyone had that mentality, like then the world like male and female, everything would just be equal, rather than like both genders trying to fight for power.
I think the whole has to do with like the fact that when we think of like feminism, like trying to balance the equality between male and female, that we think of this idea of like women trying to like take away what men have and try to make it their own, and like show that they can do that, like they can do the same thing as men do. But instead of that's been the wrong approach like to the situation, whereas women need to like take what they do best and build on it and try to make it for the better, and try to instead of trying to take away from what men are known for doing good, that they should probably like make a thing where they can do it.
Destroying this power, this dominance would allow both sexes to agree upon things and have equal pay and be able to grow in the country with relationships, economy, government, in general, actually. And if you want to destroy this idea of power, I think you need to start with what's affecting everybody the most, which is the media.
So like right now I'm connecting Brandon's comment to the knowledge comment about patriarchy. So patriarchy is this society dominated by masculinity and power, primarily being held by people who are men or ideas that are masculine. Then Brandon's saying that the patriarchy needs to be, that power dynamic needs to be destroyed. And that's like what this man is saying, or this woman, I actually don't know. Maybe a woman. I'm gonna look it up.
Amen.
It could be men.
Randy, can you Google her?
It's
Randy will let us know. Okay, any other thoughts, any connections to this quote and other texts?
It's a female.
Thank you.
To the relevance of feminism, I remember talking about in Station 7 with my group that there was the debate stuff and all the comments. There was this one person that angered all of us, and it was talking about how they're saying, oh, feminism is no longer relevant because women are just victimizing themselves. I want to know what you guys think about that. What was your reaction? Because they said, this man said that women are just victimizing themselves, that feminism isn't relevant anymore. It was just a thing of the past. And that person said men and women are equal.
I think that's like
it's like saying that it's a man that said it, right? Exactly. So they wouldn't know the importance of it since they're not a woman. They wouldn't know the struggles that a woman has to go through in life. So it's just like it's like they're being ignorant. Not, yeah, in a way, because it's like it goes back to the question from the homework. It wasn't a question, it was a belief where it says, I believe that it is more challenging to be a woman than a man. So it's like you can't say one gender is more challenging than the other since you only been one gender. You don't know what it's like to be the other one. So it's like you have to, it's like this mindset of being open-minded. You can't, yeah, you have to know that, you have to know the facts and be able to like connect it with yourself to be able to say something so ignorant about another gender that you never been with.
Yeah, and going connecting back to the challenges things you said, for that one, I heard that it's challenging to be either sex because both have these stereotypes that you know.
I just referring to what Foster said, like with the ignorance, I think it connects back to like the station too. When it said one of the quotes from the management and says ignoring isn't the same as ignorance. You have to work at it. I feel like what the guy said, he's being really ignorant because he knows the facts about what's going on and how this is like a repetition of what has been going on in history and how like it is the same right now. And I feel like the guy is just he's looking at the fact that he chooses to ignore it. And like he doesn't like have an open mind. He even tries to use his best to understand where a woman might come from, and then he's just like one sided. He feels like he's a man. Since he doesn't have to go through it, he doesn't really care or have an open mind about situations.
I think an extra mind after this around Yavian and Yana. Yana, do you want to join the segment? Any blank paper?
Throughout the station, I have like the same down sexiness. Hold throughout the work that we were doing for the stations, I kept referencing Donald Trump because of how sexist he is and the sexist remarks that he was always making towards women. That I forgot what was. Did anybody watch the speech that he made somehow? It was talking about how he also thinks that women are victimizing themselves. It was in an article, and it was also this video debate, and did you see it?
There's a lot, he repeats.
There's a lot, but it's just
Yeah. And he's saying, like, you're talking about when he was talking about how women are like, it's like, wasn't it, it was like a,
he compared women to something.
yeah.
But he was just making a lot of sexist remarks, and I kept referencing him. In this one part, there was this question, and it was like, history is doomed to repeat itself, and I put that unless Donald Trump wins. I mean, wait, no, that's if Donald Trump wins. That's if history's gonna repeat itself if he wins. Oops, I
feel like, I don't know, Trump, he says, it's like, you have to think about it, president is just the face of our country. It's like, they don't have the power to do anything, you know, it's like, Congress is someone that has the power.
Congress is, but this is like, the majority of the Congress is white men.
But they hate him.
But I mean, you never know.
I feel
They
like
just might say just because
I feel like you were saying like how that it is like a president doesn't really have like a major role, like as you can say, but I feel like it's not the case in this scenario because this president, we're gonna be looked at by other countries, third world countries and other countries that like who are like not us, that we're gonna be looked at as in a certain way, and like we're gonna be judged because of this man who's in power, and it's gonna make because of him they're gonna make a general judgment about all Americans. And that we're gonna be perceived as American. So like say we go to another country, they're gonna be like, oh, well since you're American, you have to be like Donald Trump because you live in this country. So I feel like even though he may not have like a strong pull that on like political issue or like whatever the case may be, because you know Congress has a major pull on decisions stuff like that, but we'll still have a reputation. The reputation won't necessarily be like that.
It's the image that he brings to the country.
Yeah, it's just
it's just like
which has a lot to do. Which has an effect, like major effect on us.
yeah, it's the same thing like with another country like England, how they just use the Queen as representation of people. That changes England would be looked at differently. We change our president, we change who would be represented by.
I don't think it's for years, like, America's just been depicted as, oh, they're just this country who, like, takes advantage of their power and all that, but it doesn't mean that, oh, one person that changed that view of, what, the nation is. I feel like throughout history, like, we always been looked at as, like, we left England to be, like, rebels or whatever, and, like, we survive on, like, our own, like, our own democracy or whatever, and, like, people, like, slowly trying to be like us, so they could have some level of power as we do. And I just feel like one person won't, like, make us look any worse or any better.
I feel like
Speaking
I
about
disagree.
power dynamics, I'm just gonna try to drive us back to these questions. Feminism and patriarchy have a lot to do with power dynamics. Thinking about like the first wave of feminism and the evolution of feminism, what were the powers that women gained through each wave of feminism?
They gain the right to vote and like and political representation.
In the first wave?
Yeah, the first wave when they started using the women's organizations. But in the text, it's the faces of feminism on page 6. In this race, gender, and class section. I learned that well, I didn't really learn it, but it goes back to what I was saying with the Zoom. It talked about how even though the organizations that were mostly women, you have to think about that as mostly like white, middle class women, and not just any type of woman. You have to be in a certain section of society. So it's just like it's talking about how like only certain women will have that power to vote, and not all women. So yeah, it's just like.
So in which wave do we see that changing from it being feminism being something?
More of the
Second
second
wave.
because the second one is recognizing the minorities and realizing the
Yeah, it's like in the 1960s, like after the civil rights movement. Like, during it.
There was this quote in the Supplement of Feminism, and I just want to ask what you guys think about it. The quote is, "A woman reading Playboy feels like a little like a Jew reading a Nazi manual." It says, "A woman reading Playboy feels a little like a Jew reading a Nazi manual."
I feel like it goes back to being judged incidents, like when you were talking about like the man saying how women are always victimized. I felt like it can be a little bit, I can see where he's coming from, but I feel like he used it in the wrong way. Because at the end of the day, if you look at our history and what we tried to do and what we tried to achieve, at the end we still play the victim. Because we're always trying to uplift one another, and then society throws us down, or if not, we get there, but we don't get the opportunity to show like what we are capable of. So I feel like, yeah, we are the victim, but I wouldn't necessarily say that we are victimized in a way. You get what I'm saying? Or you think
I'm hearing that you're not sure what you think about the playing the victim idea.
yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say that we're choosing to play the victim, but I feel like at the end the product is that we still are the victim. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, everything in basic feminism would agree with what you're saying. Like, historically, women have been given equal place in society as men for many reasons that have been detailed here, that we can see in the waves of feminism.
Because I feel like it's still relevant, but being that people are starting not to really care about it and not shine a light on it no more is not as broad as it was before.
You mean like not widely spoken
Yeah.
by everybody?
Yeah. So I feel like it's still relevant because there's still changes that need to be made, and there are still like certain people that are out there trying to change it, but it's not as popular as it was then.
I just want to give an example of like if we're going on how the feminist is like implemented in our society. Me and Naomi both took extra dance, and in extra dance
Yeah.
class, we know that like a lot of exercise videos are done like by a lot of women, and so we have in dance class we have to like watch videos and like
dance to them, or like whatever the case may be. And we have boys and we have females in our class, and it's me and Naomi feel really bothered when the boys in our class speak about the ladies in the video like objects. So like some of the remarks they would make would be like, oh yeah, she's mine, oh yeah, that's yours, and like they're handing out women to like each other, and I feel like it started bothering me to the point where like I felt like so emotional, and like it really like I wanted to separate myself from them because of the fact that like I felt that they were being like I felt like it was just like so weird like to like actually witness it for ourselves, and it was just like we were so bothered by it. Not only the fact, but like I consider like I felt like they were ignoring the fact that there's females in that class, and I just felt so bothered, and it was just like so irritating. And like I understand where like these women in our history have to go through, and like I've never like been through it like firsthand, but in PE it was just like I understood it through so many ways that I was like, so surprised.
Can you like tell the difference? Because I remember we were in the first semester, right? And then it was just like there was men in there, but they wouldn't make those marks. Can you see the difference?
Yeah.
It was just like what they're raised around and who they're raised around. Because I remember the guys that were in our semester 1 class. I know most of the guys were raised around a lot of women, and I thought the ones that were in their class were raised around a lot of men.
It's different. It's kind of different. Because I feel like it goes back into our history where like certain people would be like, you know, well, men are going to be men. Like that's why like certain men like, would get away with it in history. But like now I feel like they don't realize when they're saying it. So it's like they back then they knew what they were saying, and they know they were doing it for a reason, and they know they weren't going to get in trouble for it. Whereas like here now is just becoming like they're oblivious to what's being said. So like they say it not feeling like, all right, I'm gonna get a consequence, or like sometimes they just say it not realizing like who's around, and I feel like they're comfortable with like what's being said, because like here, like I said, like it's not, feminism is not broad, so they feel like women are not gonna speak up about it if they say it, or if so, like I said, they're not being cautious of what they're saying or who is being said around.
When we're starting the
Seminars?
Yeah.
Soon.
Okay.
After the lock-in.
The what?
After lock-in?
The what?
We're having seminars and advisory.
Oh yeah.
So, after the lock-in, the week after the lock-in, so like right before spring break.
Yes.
Christmas.
I was just thinking about a question that says, should patriarchy be dismantled? What would it look like? I want to like understand like what the question's asking for.
So, it was what you were talking about before, it's this quote. Should the power dynamic change, and how should that look?
Honestly, I stick with my idea of destroying the whole idea of patriarchy power in general, because if you just switch it, I feel like either sex, whichever sex is in power, if it was reversed, it would have been the same thing. But it's just like, and there's this idea from a show that I used to watch, of course, that there was this one episode, and it was called Battle of the Sexes, and it was showing how either sex in power, the same thing would happen. There was this female, she it's a sci-fi show, but she put on the belt, she gained this power, and she went insane, and the women around her also gained power, and the men were dehumanized. And then in reverse, it's just that's what makes both sexes so much alike, and especially if you go back to the yin and yang theory, there's a little bit of us in each of us.
The second wave feminists would love that. They kind of would love seeing men being belittled and trampled on, but we're not in second wave feminism anymore. We're potentially in fourth wave, we could be in a different wave, that we could be in fifth wave, we could be in like 3.5. Who knows?
Because I remember the third wave talking about it's like the uprise of technology use, and it's about like the cyber feminism and all this other stuff. And I think now it's just constantly using the media and constantly using the younger generation to uprise this idea of feminism, and so that generation can introduce it to the next generation that's coming through. So I think the fourth wave of feminism is going going to happen, but it's just starting now. It's because I think it's kind of odd to think about it, because maybe you said that you were just like 3.5 for feminism, so it's just maybe just like between both of them, or a combination, or it's just a continuation. It's just I think now it's just yeah, I don't think the third wave is ended because it was just the uprise of technology, but there's also this idea that the fourth wave could be using the younger generation because yeah.
I'm sorry.
I wanna go back to what Shania and Naomi were talking about, because all of this like talk makes me think back to like, when did this happen? This happened like a few months ago, and I'm not surprised that I still remember it, but you guys were talking about how boys like hand out women and like view them as objects, right? So I remember I was in the hallway, and this happened in school. I was in the hallway, and it was a student that goes to the school, a boy, and he had called another student a girl,
Just spell it.
B-I-T-C-H. Called her the B word.
Wait, dude, girl.
And another student, she was also a girl, she got offended even though he wasn't talking to her. She was like, you're not supposed to talk that way to another female, especially in that way. And then he was like, he told her to shut up, that he wasn't talking to her, he was talking to the other girl. And it just, I was just like, wow.
So it's just like this idea of just like that man just put dominance on the female because he's a man.
Is it okay for women to call each other that?
No, because I remember, I don't get it up with girls right now, but it was she was like, if you call each other bitches, it'll only make it okay if guys can call you that.
Right.
And it's just like,
Say that in
yeah,
Well, I mean,
the teacher, she was just like, if you call each other bitches, it was just making guys think that it's okay to call you bitches.
Yeah.
And it's,
Thank you, reality TV, for making like women calling each other
Oh, no.
things.
It's like, it goes back to the N-word, how.
Yeah. I was gonna say that, yeah.
When you call each other an N-word, it's like, you making it seem like you're saying that white people can say it, but you're also saying that, like, it's okay for people to call you that. Even though if you change, like, the last
even though
two
they
letters
changed
of
the
it, it
definition,
doesn't
Yeah.
change
it's just like,
the meaning or the history of it.
Or they feel like it's how it's used.
Yeah.
Cause like, I know like there's a lot of females that'll be like, hey yo, what's up? And say it, but if a guy was to say it, then it'll be a different reaction.
Could you see how that's like, you're kind of creating this confusion for?
Yeah, but like, at the same time, it's used differently. Like, I feel why they get offended. Cause if a female, like, say if like me and Shania was to use it, it'll be a different tone compared to like, as if like David would say it to me. It would come from like a different situation, I feel. So they would have two different reactions.
I feel like David was like, had a bunch of female friends, he's like, no,
You see, it would be used differently. Like, you see, like, it has a different tone to it. You get what I'm
So,
saying?
but he could use that nice tone and say that word to you?
I feel
It's
like,
different because it's coming from a
I feel like
guy.
it shouldn't be period, like it just draws back to the fact that it goes back to sex.
Yeah.
So like if we just eliminate the use of a word, no matter if male or female or male,